Imagine a world that is piled up garbage everywhere. Flies and bugs flying everywhere on the street, and while we're walking on the street, you can smell a serious garbage smell on it. And near your living district, there's an incinerator blowing out thick smokes to your home and making you choke every day. It sounds disgusting, right? But what if I tell you this could be our future world? You may think that how could it be? But hey, look at the government data. It says that in 2030s, our free landfills are going to be full, and if we don't do something more, then our future world probably could be this garbage world. Looking at the government data, in 2023, there are a total of 1,884 tons of solid waste being sent to data, while there are 6,731 are domestic and 4,153 tons are the industrial waste, which, if you are counted into kilograms, there are around 2,000 elephants are sending to the landfills every day. It's crowded, right? And among those waste types, the paper, plastics, and peel scripts are the majority, while the paper has a total of 2,171 tons, and plastics have 2,120 tons, and the peel scripts has 3,490 tons of waste being sent. These are being sent to landfill every day. Well, but thinking of this, while the paper waste could only need to use around 1 to 2 years to degrade, and for those plastic waste, you might need over 500 years to degrade, which means they might need more time to stay in the landfill for degrading and occupying the landfill spaces and worsening the landfill saturation issues. So are there any ways for us to ease the burden of the landfill, like maybe recycling? But how many of us has the recycling awareness? Or maybe I should say, how many of you care about recycling? Is recycling that simple? Just simply dumping those three types of waste, main types of waste, plastic, paper, metals, into according boxes, and those waste will just disappear like magic. It is just one of the major issues in Hong Kong, but seems that not many of us really know about those recycling issues. How strange. In our schools, primary, secondary, tertiary, they didn't taught us much about those recycling process. They only just taught about how to define these categories, but didn't tell us how long it needs to be degraded. I'm wondering that since we have dumping so many waste to landfill every day, people seems that don't have much awareness. Will it be because of our education is not enough? So I tried to find out some data to show that whether education links up our recycling awareness or not. And I found some government data and showed some interesting facts. Well, you see, according to these two graphs, the government asked those interviewees according to their education levels, and asking them whether our recycling awareness are enough or not. You can see that over 50% of the interviewee with education level or secondary or above thinks that our recycling awareness are not enough, while over 60% of those primary education level interviewees thinks that it's already enough. And the bottom one showing that is the government asking that whether we should impose stricter rules on reducing these single-use plastics waste or not. Well, those education with diploma level or secondary level above agree that we should have more stricter rules to decrease the using of those single-use plastics. Well, but on the other hand, those education level with primary or below thinks that we don't need that. Showing that with a higher education level, people seems to be more easy to accept those stricter rules on restricting using those plastic waste, and they are seem to be more aware of these environmental issues. And on the other hand, governments also interview that how people do they have any habits on reducing these single-use plastics? And most of these are 4 major types that they do in their daily lives, like bring own shopping bags and avoid the use of single plastic umbrella bags, or maybe purchasing those simple packaging products to reduce the using of these, making these so much plastic waste. But still, even if we try to reduce the use of plastic waste, there are still many plastic being sent to landfills every day. So, are there any ways to reduce these amounts of waste being sent to landfill? Well, yes, there is. There are a group of recycling heroes are trying to reduce amounts of plastic waste being sent to landfill in Hong Kong. And Missing Link Recycling, the polyfoam recycling scheme, is one of the associations in Hong Kong playing actively and trying to reduce these polyfoams. It is found in 2015 by Andy Lee, and it is run by the Hong Kong Association Youth Development, which is a government-funded organization. The Missing Link is also is mainly focused on recycling PP, PE, PS, PED categories of plastics. Also, they aim to educate citizens about knowledge of recycling. But the major task for them to do is to reduce these polyfoams to recycle. And in my volunteering experience, well, Andy told us that they mainly cooperate with those fresh markets, companies, schools, shopping malls, or neighborhood society to get those plastic styrofoams, plastic bags, or other packaging products to recycle. That their daily task is to reduce around 500 to 800 kilograms of plastics. But you see, such a big bag of plastics is only account for around 3 to 4 kilograms, which means the daily amounts they reduce can be fill up the room for several times. Such a big amount, right? Through the recycling process, well, actually you need to clean those styrofoam boxes, straightening out those impurities, and then melting them. But it's not just not easy work, since so much plastic bags, so much styrofoam boxes is actually very tiring. And also, after you have melting those plastic down, actually it will become those plastic bricks. And those plastic bricks can be sent to those downstream factories, which could be further processing as those plastic pellets. These pellets can be further processing and then becomes maybe your phone cases, the plastic mouse cases you use, or maybe those fruit packages or industrial materials, and so on. It's meaningful. Furthermore, actually you see there is a self-service corner. They have set a self-service corner for the citizens to come up and to define their plastic waste according to different categories, and there are labels on boxes, allowing the citizens to know how to define their categories plastics. When I was doing those volunteering jobs, I have seen several citizens coming up, and then they are carefully defining their plastic waste in putting them into different correct boxes. And I think that is quite meaningful, because you see when the citizens are educated with these recycling knowledge, they are actually really trying to take a further step to help to recycle and to reduce the amount of plastic waste they produced. But so far, it sounds perfect, right? The organization is reducing plastic waste and citizens are getting educated. They are also helping the environment. It sounds good, right? But aren't there any challenges that are facing? Well, yes, there is. Well, I have interviewed one of the full-time staff workers at there, and let's call her Mary. She is one of the full-time staff in Missing Link, and she told me that actually Missing Link only got 3 full-time workers at there, while the other workers are just part-time workers. Imagine that only 2 colleagues, you and only 2 colleagues, are working there and then needing to shredding those plastic boxes, washing them, cleaning them, and melting them non-stop in order to fulfill your daily tasks. How tough, that's tough, right? And she told me that it is normal for them to overtime to finish their tasks. Sometimes they need to work up until 10 p.m. in order to finish clear up these plastic waste. Furthermore, she also pointed out that maybe that government is not giving enough support for them to for the whole recycling industry in Hong Kong, since even if they are trying their best to recycle as much amounts as they could, the maximum amounts they could recycle daily is around only 1,000 kilograms. While comparing to the data I've mentioned before, that we have dumped 2,120 tons of plastic waste to landfill daily, is only a tip of iceberg. So, are there any ways that maybe government could do, like maybe imposing some plastic taxes, a higher plastic taxes to reduce amounts of waste we could produce? Or maybe the government could impose some taxes according to the amount of waste we produce. There's still a lot to discuss if we want to further help to improve our environmental issues. In this volunteering experience, we can see that if the citizens are equipped with these recycling knowledge, they are really willing to come out and to take a first step to help to improve the environment. So I think that we should further to promote the educations of these recycling knowledge to the citizens for further improving our environmental issues. Before ending this talk, I have one last question to ask you. If you have the chance, will you come and take out the first step to improve our future environment? Thank you.